not just my answer, but maybe some thoughts that hopefully we will continue during the conference also to address. So the first question of strengthening our schools. As I mentioned very briefly, that in 2008 when we had our first formal assembly of the Lasallian family in Malaysia, we identified one strategy, and that strategy was in order to revitalize our schools, not number of strategies, but the main strategy we thought that in order for us to revitalize our schools, we need to take back inverted commerce ownership and influence over the schools. And that had to be through the setting up of our boards of governors. At that time we realized that not many of our schools had a board of governors and managers. So that was the first fundamental in getting our house back, and maybe in fact I've got a copy of the document there. It gives us guidelines for the board of governors. At the same time we realized that we cannot use our boards to bring effects to the students, to the teachers in the school, unless we go through a formation. And that's where the South Centre over these years has been running a number of programs for heads of schools, of course for the key leaders in our through our youth conventions every year, and of course the programs not just for the joint recruits but he with his regional teams have been trying and very, very hard to do this twofold parts of formation in whatever you call it, like Lasallian studies, getting more parents in the boards of governors to also understand what is the Lasallian vision, what are our plans and strategies. So what only thing I could say about this present moment is maybe you all in a better position to make a formal evaluation as to what has been done in the past, what can be done to strengthen further our schools in Malaysia. I think that is my initial comment. But I think I personally believe that today our Lasallian schools are not just facing problems to do with our internal working mechanisms. I think there are also some very, very important policies. I give an example. If we want to strengthen our Lasallian schools, many of our boards today and our alumni associations are spending lots and lots and lots of their time collecting money to fix the roof and repair the toilets. They get 2,000 ringgit to pay for electricity. In our schools, many of our big schools, comes to 8,000 a month. You tell me honestly, there must be some fair deal with this. Why should we be fixing roofs and repairing toilets when they are taxpayers' children and they are civil servants that have come to our house and we're not charging them a single cent? But we are kept quiet about these very, very so-called sensitive issues. But we are ready to talk about it now because we know education is not about a privilege. I think it is our right as a community to educate our young. So I think this is part of our rethinking, hopefully, policy advocacy. Don't just wait for handouts to the government. I told Mr. Rowe the other day, if you have new classrooms, go tell the government you sent us 180 students this year. Last year I had 10 students. You give me $50,000, I'm going to fix up 2 classrooms. Are we ready to do that? We are not ready to do that because this is part of our mechanism to strengthen. As for private education, maybe we need to talk a little bit more about this together as a community, but just only one comment. And the comment is this, that many parents are so disillusioned with our formal education system for many reasons. Is it wrong for us to set up another educational pathway where parents who want to pay, who can pay? Is it alright for Lasallians to charge parents for their education? I mean, this is a question of a principle and we need to know. But on the whole, we can say we have already accepted that we can have side by side with our national school of Bangsa, we can have private schools. Can be vocational, can be technical, can be for special needs. But I think in principle, I think we are open to the idea. Maybe your views on this are very, very important, especially as we move, especially Samaj and along a growing number of people who don't just want to go to our national education system. You know what I mean? And they're sending them to Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan. Why? Or maybe there's something we need to ask ourselves about. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Brother Anthony. I got one question. I myself a Lasallian. I probably feel that some teachers, right, who are not new to this kind of Lasallian education, are newly posted or have been several years or many years of experience teaching in this profession, I feel that maybe the brothers can work on taking the new teachers who do not know about the knowledge, the principle, and how the mechanisms of Lasallian education work. So can just put in like a refreshing course or orientation for these teachers to get to know about Lasallian education. Because I feel that some teachers who are posted in our school, they do not know the actual progress and how it works for Lasallian education. So I hope that the brothers will work on this, so that many teachers, because they don't see that they work on their own. But if we see the visions of the Lasallian brothers, how education works in this manner, so I think everybody can work effectively and knowing that they are working towards for the children, better future or for the children. Alright, thank you very much.
Morning, brother. I'm from Malacca, St. Francis Institution in Malacca. This is a thought. I'm only 6 months old in Lasalle, still a baby. But from what I gather, from the input I get from my brothers, and from what the talk they've been given, Lasalle is all about the loss, the lease, and there's another one, the last. But from what I see from a personal point of view, what we have in Lasalle schools, it is for the best, it is for the brilliant, and it is for the those who come from very influential backgrounds. And being where I am now, I see the lost, the least, and the last being marginalized, especially in Lasalle schools, because we don't have time. We are all focused on education. We have curriculum, we have targets. So I feel the essence of the Lasalle spirituality is not practiced. And as you see, most of the Lasalle schools are in the urban areas. So I also don't see where this spirituality is being practiced today. This is my personal comment.
Good morning, brothers and Lasallians. Sim Hocket from St. Xavier's Institutions. I was very thankful of the brothers who were explaining about transformations of the educations in the Lasallian way, and also to the emphasis on the youth. But I think there is a very major part of we need to also to transform the present administrators, teachers, and also parents who send their children to the Lasallian school, because that kind of understanding will be a longer impact, it will give a better effect. And in this way, school cultures can be incorporated into school cultures, the elements of the Lasallian values. And this can be done actually, because now the government actually is implementing this LDP, latihan dalam perkhidmatan, for every government schools, inclusive of all Lasallian schools. Then we can be try to go that way, so that at least one of the LDP in every Lasallian school has to be LDP which concerns with the Lasallian values, in which all the administrators in the school, all the teachers will be able to be to absorb, or at least to understand and recognize
how the background, what is the background of the school, and how it comes to this present stage. So I think that is a very important matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Tintanui from Lasallian Learning Center, Penang. 13 years studying in St. Xavier's and teaching in St. Xavier's and SFI. I would like to respond to my brother teacher from SFI and to all other teachers who have asked this question, and I will also pose the question. It was maybe unfortunate and also fortunate that I came to be associated with Brother John de Cruz at Lasallian Learning Center while still serving as a teacher. And now that, again, regretfully, that I have retired, I have found that actually the answer to the question as to how Lasallian education can still be imparted to the last, the lost and least is first and foremost as a teacher. If we do see, and surely in every school in the country, this is from my limited experience in serving in 10 different schools in 4 different states in the country, every school will have students who will be somehow classified among those that we call who have fallen through in between the cracks. How we wish, and I have felt this many times, that I could have spent at least 5 minutes in class because there's one student who is somehow not coping, but 39 others would be making noise. So after school hours sometimes is not a good way. So how do we respond? In 2 different ways. One, and this is exemplified now by St. Xavier's Institution, Lasalle Secondary School, Kota Kinabalu, and the idea has now been taken and maybe will find fruition in St. Xavier's Branch School, Pulau Tikus, Penang. In that, the school administration, with the help of teachers on a voluntary basis, have converted one classroom. In St. Xavier's, it is a small, about half a normal classroom. In Lasalle School, Kinabalu, they have converted a former art class into a learning center where they help students who have learning difficulties to try and cope. There are many reasons for their learning difficulties. Among them actually is poverty, as we have discovered. The second response, how we try to serve the last, the lost and least, is in addition to the students who are in school, who are failing all the time, we have, as in Penang and in Kuching now, Lasalle learning centers where we help children to learn how to learn. I summarize now with the words of one of the former students who was at our Lasalle learning center in Penang. On the 25th anniversary, he was invited, and in his 3-minute speech he just made one powerful statement. I started schooling at 12 years old. I think the reason was he was poor or his parents were poor. But today I'm a graduate. Thanks to the learning style that I've learned how to cope in the Lasalle Learning Center. So here is now an invitation and a question. We have had contacts with the former or the retired principal of St. Paul's Institution, Seremban. We have also had interest from Lasalle Secondary School, Klang, St. Michael's Institution, and a few other schools who have asked us, Lasalle Learning Center, Penang, to help them in setting up. We have now a training division, so our Lasalle Learning Center is also Lasalle Training Center to help those who would like to run, even though community and not school-based learning centers. We have twice a year sharing sessions to help teachers and also kindergarten people how to use other methodology which is useful for children who really cannot cope, even though they were 12 years old, with just A, B, C and counting. Okay? So with that, I throw now a challenge. Can all Lasallian schools try and think, is this one of the ways in which we cater to the last, lost and least? The 5% perhaps who will not shine. The 5% who, while the rest of the school is striving to the best, they are trying to cope with their not disability, their difficulty in learning.
I just would like to add to what Hinton said. We are focusing so much on community. My question is, how is it in the consideration to move away from schools into community-based, informal education that really, that's in the midst of the grassroots, that starts with the needs of people. To move away from schools, really. My question is, how can we include in all this something that shifts from school-based to community-based, which means less structure and more something that's more people-oriented.
So Michael has given me 3 minutes to conclude. I don't understand too many things except the fact that hopefully many of the questions that we have raised today are the questions that we need to answer before we go back. The challenges, the questions that we can continue reflecting. But I think your views, not just the views, is that again by saying the keynote, we are here not just to listen to one another. We are here to have come to a common understanding. Hopefully we'll come to some consensus of some of these things. Consensus as to guide our priorities, as to how we whether one example would be Indian's challenge, whether we really need to make learning centers an integral part of our school system for the weaker students, what some of our schools has done. I think we need to hear more voices as to whether this can be done, and that's where we have the facilities, we have people who are involved in formation courses, with John, the Learning Center and Penang. I think we need to hear your voices. Secondly, we also need to find very concrete ways of responding to the needs of special needs children. I think tomorrow you'll be hearing one Norjan from our St. Xavier's Primary School. She's been working with very special needs children. So I think giving us that type of directions will help us. I think another very small comment is, I think the Rambo hasn't officially announced this yet, but his announcement will be that as a result of this MALEC, we're going to go back to the 6 regions and we're going to replicate what we have done here. So that we'll get more teachers, new teachers, young teachers, so that they'll become a part of the new strengthening of our regional works. And finally, one comment about the challenge today, probably one of the biggest challenges of our brothers in Malaysia is how do we, besides looking after the so-called weaker students with learning disabilities, I think we need to think very, very consciously about promoting parallel alternative education and vocational subjects, vocational areas. I think some of you know that the government has now also sanctioned or officially approved that besides SPM, you can also sit for SKM, Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia, where we can do 4 subjects in SPM and the possibilities of doing 4 other subjects under Sijil Kemahiran. I mean, these are some of the areas that we can look at, especially some of us, as we said, the last is not small percentage. It's a big number, 70-80%. So how do we slowly, gradually transform our schools to open our doors for that, those with learning disabilities and those who are not just OKU. Some people were talking about OKU yesterday. You know it's OKU, isn't it? That's what they tell us. They say OKU stands for orang kurang upaya, but the Lasallian version is OKU stands for orang kelainan upaya. think kelainan upaya dan kurang upaya. So the kelainan upaya would be our attempt to have others. So thank you, and we hope we can continue being in a flexible way, getting more of your voices heard, coming to a consensus in a very, very informal way. That's why we have kept all the evenings free, so that we have time to sit and talk, and I'm sure Vivian and Brother Michael and Brother Bruce will make sure that Brother John, the facilitators, will, and also Dr. Sim tomorrow, and we'll continue our journey and we'll continue down there. Thank you.